Combat Battle Reports. Today we are celebrating Flames of War's foray into the Pacific War by doing our own Pacific War battle. In fact, this is going to be a beach assault, as you can see, and it's going to be the Marines coming in at the Japanese, and what the Japanese have to defend against it is a line of dug-in infantry inside of trenches behind some barbed wire fences there. They even have some bunkers up here, all along here, and some more trenches up here where the command is looking down over there, and Patches is right now trying to figure out how she is going to assault this beach. The Marines are not on there yet. They have to come in, but first they're going to get a bombardment. So this is going to be an interesting battle as they go as a foray into the Pacific. We've all been waiting for Flames of War to do that. So what do you think we're going to do, Patches? After the bombardment, this is what it looks like, and basically wherever there is a die, that is where somebody has died. Actually, they got hit harder on this side than the other side. Over here, the bunker is not destroyed, but they are pinned because when they get killed there, unless they're assaulted, they just simply are pinned. So it's a little they're hit a little bit harder on the left than the right. And here come the Americans, and yes, you may be wondering where I got these lovely, amazing-looking miniatures. They're at www.jeffisacheapass / I only had a little bit of time to put this together, .target.michaels. Jeff's still very, very cheap at get off your ass and make some real miniatures, Jeff, or buy some .org. Alright, so the Americans are going to be coming on. Let's see how they do. The Americans have now landed, although they've had a little bit of trouble because 2 of their landing craft are delayed, probably because they were bait so crappy. One of them landed with all of that infantry, came in firing, did not take anybody out. But that's okay, because a flame tank came in and just wiped them out. Took out 3 units there, had 3 shots, or 3 rolls, took out 3 units. Wiped them out and with the flamethrower and pinned whatever is remaining there. So the American left is open for the taking. Meanwhile, this aircraft has come in, put in some napalm on there, did not destroy anybody. They managed to survive the napalm attack, which might almost be worse than death. Japanese turn, and the 2 bunkers with the anti-tank guns opened up, took out one of the American Shermans, the flamethrower Shermans, which they saw how effective they were. And then their pillbox and the remaining infantry here opened up. In total, they got 10 hits. Oh, with artillery on this infantry as well. Total of 10 hits, and yet somehow the Marines actually survived every one of them, but they are, of course, pinned down on the beach. The American turn has been devastating. They are really concentrating on this side, and they wiped out the Japanese on this this particular flank. All of them in that trench are gone. They fought to the last man like good Japanese soldiers. Now the Marines have rushed over the position and are charging up towards that bunker. By the way, the objectives are here and here, so it's actually a little further away for the Americans to go. But that was the side of the initial bombardment that went more in their favor. And by the way, the napalm bombing went again, and it was completely ineffective. It's a lot less effective than I sort of expected napalm to be. The Japanese retaliate with machine gun fire and artillery down here and taking out a lot of infantry, pinning them down, and coming at them with air power over here, taking one of them down and pinning one of them there as well. And by the way, thank you to Ulysses S. Grant for holding up the Japanese plane for us, all you Americans that were killed in that one, including, well, specifically that particular stand. Can thank him. Anyway, also the anti-tank gun fired at the tank, which is now over here, and it bounced off, as did the artillery, so that guy is just holding on by a thread. Coming to you mid-turn, just before an assault, and the Americans are just trouncing this turn. The first thing that happened was not good news for them. Their last transport still has been delayed and cannot get onto shore. And these Marines are still pinned. They were not able to come unpinned and start moving forward, especially because they had been hit by the sniper, which I forgot to point out last time. But of course I didn't see him because, you know, it's very hard to see that miniature. Again, this miniature comes to you courtesy of www.jeffisacheapass.www / he should get himself some more minis. However, I like that idea of just, you know, it's a sniper. You don't see him, and that's why I forgot about him. Anyway, he had also pinned them down. Plus, they had gotten hit by a plane, so they're getting hit quite a bit. and they continue to be pinned down. But everywhere else, first of all, this tank moved through here. He's been bog checking, made it all the way through, made it all the way across, and came to here and boom, flamed that the bunker. Does not actually take it out. Oh, wait a second. Actually, I'm gonna have to check that because I think flames are the only exception. They might actually take it out. At the very least, he's pinned them so they cannot fire this turn into this assault that's about to happen. And as they fired on the move, they actually managed to kill somebody. And the plane is coming through, which we were doing just before the assault. It just occurred to me. I think it's supposed to happen after the assault. But we had done all the fire and we did that. Plus artillery came down. Actually, come to think of it, no, this was just machine gun fire. Actually, the artillery fire did not actually do anything. It's the support fire from the ships. But anyway, the assault is just about to happen. And the Japanese pulled a rabbit out of their hat. They got exactly 5 hits, which is exactly what they needed to pin these Marines. And the Marines have been pinned down, so they are not going to come in on this assault. That is really going to hurt them, especially because his flames are done. He pinned the bunker down for this turn, but they're going to come unpinned next turn. That tank is going to be gone, and so that bunker is now going to be able to, or the pillbox, is going to be able to defensive fire from then on. So this was the time they needed to go in, and they got pinned down. It is bad news for the Marines. And it just keeps getting worse for the Americans. They just poured everything on this poor unit, from that pillbox to the Japanese in the trench to artillery, and just plastered it. There's just nothing left of it. Meanwhile, air cover and the sniper have come down on this unit, destroyed 2 more. They are just in really bad shape. They do still have 1 more ship that has still not made it to shore, but their tank cover is now retreated because it is out of its flames. And the luck just keeps getting worse and worse for the Americans. They have finally brought in the last of their transports, but the other ones remained pinned. They were not able to become unpinned, and they were not able to bring in any air power, and the artillery tried to range in, but could not range in, so there was just no naval support fire this turn. It is really looking bad for the Americans at this point, for the Marines. And now fate is finally smiling on the Americans. Now they did take a loss here from the 2 pillboxes, but the infantry completely missed. They tried to bring artillery down, and that was not able to range in. And the Japanese did not even get any air power. I guess they just felt like this was taken care of. They saw so few left, and just decided not to come down. So the Marines are still in it. They're going to get another turn. We're coming mid-turn again. The Marines are trying once again to storm the beach and go after that trench line. The Japanese, of course, have these 2 machine guns that can support, and the Americans put all of their machine guns that are lying down there that can shoot, that were not blocked by other people. Oh yeah, they left that lane clear, and some others, and pinned this one. Again, they cannot take the bunker out, or the pillbox in this case out, but they could get enough fire in there that they pinned it. They also hit this one with artillery and air power, and pinned it as well, so the pillboxes are taken care of. The Marines are ready to storm into that trench line. Let's see how this goes. The Japanese defensive fire took out 1 of the infantry that's charging them, but they came 1 short. They got 4 hits. They needed 1 more to pin them. They were 1 short of pinning, so now the Marines are coming in at them. The Marines have moved in and just slaughtered the Japanese that were at that part of the trench. They just absolutely trounced all over them with some pretty good numbers, and they have more coming. But there's more Japanese behind them, ready to come into the fight, and they are calling out a familiar call. Banzai! The Japanese banzai countercharge comes in. They kill 1 of the Marines. The Marines say, "Oh my god, we're out of here. Those Japanese are too crazy for us." And they roll a 1 on the morale. They're going to pull back. But then the company commander says, "Screw that. Semper Fi, motherfuckers." And they all go in, and they're going to continue this charge. The Marines charge in and take out that Japanese unit. But the Japanese are not licked by a long shot. They are going to stay in this to the last man. They're going to be banzai charging once again. Japanese come in, kill 1 of the units of Marines. The Marines are once again ready to run out of there, but the commander says, "Semper Fi, motherfuckers, don't forget your Marines." So they go in and they miss 1 of the Japanese, and so the Japanese come back at them yet again. And the Japanese slice through 2 more units. They are really slicing through all these Marines. There are only 2 regular units left, plus the command unit and the company command there. And the Marines are like, "Sir, we really want to get out of here." And the company command is like, "Screw that, your Marines, keep going, get them." And at long last, they kill the remainder of the Japanese in that center. The Marines have taken that position, but at what cost? They have lost most of their unit. They have 2 stands left, plus some machine gunners and, of course, the command stand. But they are in really bad shape. They had to really sacrifice a lot to get to there, and they still have that pillbox overlooking their position. So this is going to still be tough for them. It's still uphill from there. And this is the end of that very bloody turn. This is what we expected to see from the Pacific Front. The Americans are making headway, but at a very bloody cost. They are pushing through the center there, and the Japanese are down just to their pillbox, their command unit, and their airplanes coming in and bombarding. But it's really going to be at a high cost if the Americans are going to win this one. And actually, further to that, it just occurred to me that that platoon is below 50% now, so it had to roll, and it failed its morale test. Apparently, those specific Marines don't want to be in this fight, but the company commander's right there, and he risked running off the table with them by rolling to keep them on, and he made it. So this company commander is hard-bitten. He has a lot of grit to him, and he is going to keep these Marines on here until they get to victory. And once again, when it looks over for the Japanese, they just keep coming back with ferocity. They go after those machine gunners, revenge for having pinned them down as the infantry came in, took them out, took some more machine guns out, and on the morale roll, this central infantry unit failed and they ran off the table. Funny enough, these guys actually didn't need the company commander to pass the morale test, so they are staying in there. I guess they're behind the cover of this hill, although they are under the face of that gun. However, the artillery can't range in on them. It did range in over here somewhere, but did not hit anybody. Oh, yes, and the air power came in. And this could have been quite devastating, but because those guys are still bunched up, but they did not manage to kill anybody. But they did pin them once again. And it's got that 0 on there. It looks really cool. This table is looking really empty. This is what it looks like when an unstoppable force meets an unbreakable or unbendable position. I don't know exactly how this saying goes, but it's something like that. You get the idea. The Marines who just can't be stopped and the Japanese who just cannot be beaten, it winds up just turning into bloodbath where there's hardly anybody left on the table, and the air power would have a lot of places to go, but now they've used it up so much that it's hard for either of them to get it, and the artillery is having difficulty finding one another because they're all so skilled. We're coming at you from a different angle here because the Americans are just now doing an assault on the bunker. They are going up to it, assaulting it, throwing their grenades in there, putting their guns into the thing. They are about to take that bunker. It may seem a little odd they got in there so quickly, but they because some of them had been way back here on the beach. But last turn I forgot to mention they had just got trotted around here, which is the American fast move. And now this turn they just regular moved up there and then assaulted, and they are about to take that bunker along with the others running up the front. And over here with the artillery, the Americans did something quite amazing. They ranged in. They needed a 5 or 6, actually they needed a 6 to range in because they were gone to ground. Got it, and then hit the 2 targets. It would be the Japanese spotter and a mortar guy. Now they both saved, but they are now pinned. By the way, you may be wondering what happened to the Japanese turn. I kind of jumped right to the American assault. They took their turn, they fired, they really couldn't hit, and in fact, really what comes right down to it, they're having difficulty even seeing where the Americans are. The way these hills are specifically placed makes it kind of hard for line of sight, so the Americans are kind of going up in the direction where it's hard for them to necessarily be spotted. So the Japanese just didn't have a lot of shots. The Americans came down on them, and in fact their spotter was trying to spot the American spotter, could not. The American spotter now has ranged in. Actually, now it's ranged in, so now that those naval guns are going to be able to just pound the heck out of them. The Japanese readjusted so they would be out of that ranged-in fire, and the Marines just keep on coming. Although the Japanese sniper had made himself unknown. We had kind of forgotten about him actually, but I guess he was just in hiding, fired and took out 1 infantryman here, and that caused these Marines to go, "We're running, we're getting out of here!" And the company commander, once again, who was standing right next to the guy who got killed, said, "Are you Marines or are you pussies?" And so they decided to stay. They are pinned down, but they're deciding to stay. And this sniper's going to also have to get out of there. We actually gave him the chance to shoot because we had forgotten about him before, but this is his last shot since he's so close to the Marines now. So the Japanese spotter and the mortarman fired over here with the, basically all their indirect fire, and didn't hit. Actually, no, they did hit, so I guess they're pinned, but, and I think it was this particular unit that they hit, so that pinned him with the artillery, but he miraculously saved, and so they didn't get destroyed or anything, but it did affect them. Meanwhile, the Marines just said, enough of this, and they are charging in. All of them en masse are coming up here and just gonna finish this whole thing off. They are sick of this. They have come charging up. The Japanese in the defensive fire did take one of the Marine units out, but that didn't stop them. They came running in, charged at them, and took these 2 units out. And the only one left, appropriately, of the Japanese is their company commander, and he's just gonna go Banzai! One last guy into the fray once more, dear friends. And he sliced through one unit, taking them all out. The rest of them come back at him, and they can't get him. He is just too good for them, so he just continues to slice them with his katana. And he slices through another unit. This Japanese commander is not gonna go down without a fight. He is taking more of them out, and they pass their morale test, and they still cannot kill him with a 1. Then a 2, he's still standing, but then a 5. And so he yeah, that wasn't very fun. It wasn't very nice. Actually, it was a very fun one because at long last, this honorable man goes down, and the Marines have finally taken this hill. And that's actually what it looks like here. It was so appropriate for the Japanese commander to be the last one standing and to say, I will not go down without a fight. They had to take them down to the last man, practically. Well, that'll do it for us here. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe to see other ones. And happy gaming, everybody!